Okay, what does it mean to apply for a Chevening Scholarship? Well, first of all, I want to talk about what the scholarship is about. It's a fully funded scholarship for, particularly for thought leaders, for people who are aspiring to lead and who want to study in the UK. So if you know you have the potentials to lead in the future, if you know there's a particular problem that you have identified in your country and you want to solve this problem, but you need the capacity to be able to achieve what you have in mind, then I think the Chevening Scholarship is for you. What it means to apply for Chevening Scholarship, it's basically if you it's applying for a scholarship to get a master's degree in the UK, actually, to empower you with skills that will help you to influence positive change in your home country.
Right. So that's pretty much what it is. So you apply for the Chevening Scholarship because there is something about you that can help develop your country. And there is just something about you. And we keep saying it at every opportunity that everybody has a story to tell. Everybody. I mean, so getting on the scholarship is more about how convincing your story is. So
Yeah.
some guys do a lot of work. I mean, fantastic work in the development space. Even if not even development space, everything that you do, there is a way you can bring it, wire it together to
Yeah.
resonate around
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
the the, the Chevening scope. So but the deal is, how do you tell your story? Some guys will have done a million tasks, a lot of things, but they keep, not getting it. Not because they are not fantastic enough, not because they are not good enough, but it's just because the way we write our stories sometimes. So, Farouk, what are the so let's take it bit by bit. So, Shivni is loud on work experience, and you must have 2 years solid work experience. So, do you want to talk about this requirement?
Yeah, sure. For the work experience, actually, it's you're as an applicant, you're required to have a minimum of 2,800 hours work experience, and the Chevening's application system is configured in a way that it will automatically calculate this, and they also have upper limits and lower limits for this work experience. So I think it's around. I'm not too sure, but it should be around 48 to 60 hours, maximum 60 hours. So that should be per week, I guess. So you should, and also the work experience could be in any, your work experience could be in any sector. It could be at a church, it could be at your school, it could be at home, it could be anywhere. So long it has a title. So you can't just say you worked as you work in your home as what. So you have recognized an ideal title, and also it mustn't be the conventional salary work. All right, so it could be a volunteering work. It could also be paid internship. But be mindful also that internship that has to do that that's part of a requirement for your school account as your work experience. So it's just basically any work experience that you have within any specific sector, and it has an appropriate title, and it falls within the time limit. So you should. My advice actually will be you uh, go to the Chevron website and then study the upper and lower limit, because I think that's one important aspect of the application. If you, no matter how good your essays are, no matter how well they are well written, if you fail to cross that eligibility check that has to do with the work experience, then nobody is really going to see your essay. The application is going to be sifted alongside those that are ineligible. So it's very important that you go online to learn about the work experience. Any part of work experience actually counts, aside from the one that has to do with your um, that has to do with part of your academic requirements in school, like IT, SciWest, and the rest. So I think that's basically that work experience.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much, Farouk.
Yeah.
So that means if you graduate in 2016, and at the point of you being a student, you are supposed, maybe you're studying computer science, for instance,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you're supposed to go for internship or CWES or
Yeah.
IT. So
Yeah.
that kind of experience would not count,
Yeah, it
you know,
wouldn't.
for Chevening.
Yeah, it won't. It
It
won't
won't.
at all.
But
Yeah.
if after you graduate or even during holidays, not the kind of IT that you do for as a requirement for your degree, if after your graduation you try to apply, you get on internship, you volunteer for an NGO, you volunteer for an organization, then that kind of experience can count.
Yeah, sure.
That's what Farouk is trying to say. All right. So, okay. Mahmoud, yeah, sure. You can answer the question. It's a Q&A something. Mahmoud, yeah, ask a question. You have to unmute yourself.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Like me now, I study Islamic study in the University of Ilorin, and I want to apply for CP, and I just joined not quite long, and I be talking about work experience, and I didn't know anything about we are not used to anything about sideways or anything. So we are just as students, like we are just need to write and all that stuff like that. We are not kind of maybe forced to do any sideways or anything while we're in school. So how
Okay.
can you please enlighten about that?
Okay. I think I need to still talk a little bit more about this work experience. So Chevening wants you to have at least 2 years work experience translated into 2,800 hours. So now, before you gain admission, you must have probably worked somewhere. Like for me, I worked at the computer. I worked as a computer, what's it called now? Computer operator at a business center. So I actually imputed that in my Chevening application. So it could be any kind of work, so long it falls within the working hour. Okay, so let's say from 8 to 5 o'clock. That should be roughly, is it 11 hours or so? I'm not sure. So from 8 to 5 o'clock, you count the hours and then you impute it. So now you check if that hour is in line, okay, with Chevening's requirements, because there is what they call excessive labor, all right? So if you're putting in, let's say you work from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. in the evening, they don't count that as work, all right? So any kind of work you have done before, even if it's at a workshop, maybe you are an apprentice or something, you've worked, it has a role, apprentice, okay, you just put it, and then you put the time frame, all right? So that time frame is very important. It shouldn't exceed their upper limit. You shouldn't exceed the upper limit. So you're going to put that per week. For how many weeks do you work? You times it. So they have number of weeks, the time limit also for number of weeks, and then everything should sum up to 2,800 hours. So the work could be in any sector at all. I just gave an example that myself, I worked as a computer operator in a business center. So it could be any sector at all. It not necessarily have to be a top-notch organization, and for the Sideways and IT that you just mentioned, any work experience that has to do with part of your academic course, okay? Because for some students, they're required to go and to do an internship or do Sideways. If it was required to complete your program to award you your degree during your school, then it's not regarded as a work experience, okay? So but if you volunteered, let's say during your youth service, you volunteered as, let's say, the head of CDS unit, it could be a work experience. You volunteered as this or you volunteered as that, or during your school period, you volunteered, right? Or you interned with an organization just to gain experience, not necessarily as part of your university requirements, but just for your own personal development. Then that counts as work experience. What is important is that you put a title and make sure that it's within the time frame. It's within the time frame, and it shouldn't be less than 2,800 hours. It could exceed, it shouldn't be less than 2,800 hours. Hope I answered your question.
Thank you, Farouk. Yeah, and then you don't have to be certified for the kind of experience, Mahmoud. So you don't have to certificate for it.
You don't need to prove
In as
anything.
much as you're able to tell your story, in a way that convinces the panel, then that makes sense. Obina.
All right. Hello, good afternoon, everybody.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. I have a question in terms of the work experience. Like someone that volunteered for several organizations, and
Obina, do you
for
want
one
to
reason or the other. Can you hear me, please?
Yes. Do you want to up your video so that the network reception would make sense?
Okay, sorry, I was asking if someone has several volunteer work experiences and there is no certification for each of these experiences. I was wondering how can the person go ahead
You want to
and
turn off
doing
your
it?
video? Turn off your video.
Obina, can you turn off your video? Probably that will boost your network connectivity because it's kind of breaking and we can't really hear you.
All right, let me type it on the chat box, please.
Sorry?
Like the network is not too good. Let me type
I
my
think it's
question
clear
on
now.
the chat box.
It is clear now.
You can
All
just,
right,
yeah, go on.
thank you.
Okay, I think I decided to.
All right. So Adekunle Adeoye.
How can someone who wants to study international human resource management link the SNRS?
Hello. Yeah, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, sorry, my question is this regarding to what Farouk said about the work experience. Let's take, for instance, down, you volunteer with an organization, or let's say you have like 2 or 3 organizations you're actually volunteering with simultaneously. So, and you want to impute that in your Chevening application. So how will you go about it? Is it that you pick one or you can impute the 2 or 3 of them? Of course, you have your title. So can you impute the 2 at the same time while you calculate the hours you work there and you put it there?
Okay. Because so in the application portal, there is a space for either full-time or part-time. So you can't, it is humanly not possible. I mean, we assume that you cannot be the chief executive officer here and then at the same time, doing the same 8 hours, you are the psychological officer at the other organization. At the same time, it probably would not speak well. So if you are concurrently operating on 2 fronts, so you can let us know if this one is a full-time job, if it is a part-time engagement and all. That was why Farouk was saying that the date will be there and the time, the period upon which you volunteer with the organization. So, but the deal is that in a day, you cannot do beyond 60 hours in a day. That's the upper limit. You can't do, and the lower limit is about, I think, 25, 30, thereabouts.
Yeah, and I think the upper limit
So
is
60 hours within a week.
to be reduced to for the part-time job. So you should verify that too. I think.
Right. So if you are doing a part-time job, there is a limit for it. So you have to be clear on what you say, on what exactly you are trying to bring on board. So the deal is that in a day you can only impute. I mean, you can't impute beyond 60 hours of work.
In a day or in a week?
In a week.
In a week rather. So that it's spread across 50 weeks, 49 weeks, or whatever you that operates in your country. Okay.
All right. One more question, please.
Okay.
Can I go ahead?
Right.
Sorry. Let's say you have your working experience to be less than 2 years. This is like few months, less than 2 years, and your working hours exceeded 2,800 hours for the whole 2 years. So is that admissible?
No.
Yes. No. I think.
Sorry. The question is if your work experience is beyond 2,800, right?
800 hours, but if you want to check it, like it is less than 2 years, but the hours that you have worked within that time frame is more than 2,800 hours. Is it admissible?
Well,
Okay.
I think what is really important here is meeting that 2,800 mark, not necessarily the years. Okay, it may be tricky because if you're going to work, let's say you work for 2 months and you have over 2,800 hours, then it's most likely that you've perhaps exceeded their limits. All right, but if you can, if you really check and you see that it's not, maybe it's remaining some few months to reach 2 years, within that period you've been able to cover 2,800 hours, then I think it's probably eligible. But you should, I would still advise that you verify this. Just
right.
Do it on a very
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, check, and then just be sure that you are not exceeding the daily limit. I mean, the weekly upper limit. If you are not exceeding that, then if the system admits it, then because one thing Chevening will do at the beginning of the screening process will be to rule out ineligible application, and one of the aspect they will be strict on would be the work experience angle. Thank you. So somebody is asking that for someone who has several other work experience, who was not issued certificates, you don't need a certificate. I mean, one thing is they would not ask you, so they will not ask you to submit a letter or something to certify that you have that experience. What will only happen will be that during interview, if you're shortlisted for the interview, then the questions they will be asking you may reflect, what you already submitted. So no, but Chevening will not ask you to submit a certificate or what have you to confirm that you have that experience. But if you don't have it, you don't have to lie, because anyway, they would get to know. I mean, even if you scale the document review process, at the document review stage, at the interview stage, I mean, you get to meet it. So
it's just surprised that someone who has actually worked in that thing will be the one to interview, and then
exactly.
like you. So
excellent. So let's quickly move to each of the essays. We'll get all the questions later, so that we don't get to.
I don't know if you can just since Temilei and Oluwatosin are asking similar question, maybe we can just address it.
Okay.
But NYC, your NYC service work experience actually counts.
Sure, yeah, right. So your NYC experience, which is a full 1 year experience.
You put the working hours that you've worked.
Okay. Yeah. So your 1 year experience, NYC, which is a full year experience, would count. Mine counted actually. In fact, you don't even have to make them know that it's NYC. Just the organization, the name of the organization, and then at the time you engage on. That makes sense. So guys, apologies. This meeting may end. I'm not certain. Zoom can be funny. So if by adventure it ended in the next 3-4 minutes, just join again on the same link, and then we get to continue. But I doubt if it will end.
Please, I have a quick question.
Okay. Who is that?
Okay, please, peradventure, when I was in the university, I was studying, and then I was also teaching, maybe tutorial centers. Can I also add it as part of my work experience?
Yes, provided that experience is not required for your degree. So if you're teaching and it is not a teaching practice or a professional practice where you have to do that as a course to get your degree, that's the difference. But if you are doing a teaching engagement while you are still in school, yeah, you can add it and see if that applies. You can.
Thank you.
The only thing is to ensure that you are not exceeding the upper limit. I mean, that's really important, and you are not exaggerating your engagement.
Okay.
Okay, so.
Good afternoon.
Right, sure.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, sorry, please. I still want to ask this again. Like, I have applied for the Chevron award before, as in already. And if I was talking to me about maybe I need to apply to a university in the UK or something like that, like before they can be able to verify that.
I'm looking for some staff now.
He said that. Like, I've been so sorry about that. Please, can you help me out?
Farouk, you want to go?
Yeah, I was trying to say, okay, can you just help me rephrase this question? I was actually trying to browse on that work experience because someone asked per day.
Okay, so you are asking about applying to universities and the Chevening Scholarship, right?
Yes.
Okay, so probably let me just give an overview because this is a Q&A session, so that's why we are not. But that was why I was saying we should just pen questions so that we get on the now. Before you apply, there are two ways to it. Chevening would allow you. They have their own application portal where you would apply. The first page would be around.
I think it's the form. The first page has to do with forms, right? Yeah.
So the first form would be your biodata and all. The second would be your essay, which is centrally the most. I think that's perhaps the application. Yeah, so that's perhaps the application. Others is just fill and then nothing. So the essay, you have 4 essays, right? Then we'll speak in detail on each essay later. Then at the last end of the application portal, you probably would be required to pick 3 schools. All right, pretty much certain that this would be okay. So I was saying that on the application portal, so you are supposed to pick 3 schools. So you pick in order of preference. So you can pick, you can decide to pick the school that you think is your most preferred. And there is a psychology of attraction to your first choice schools most times. But please and please, if you are shortlisted for the scholarship and you are not able, so they will only give you about a month to get an unconditional offer from the university. So you apply to the university differently. So you apply to Chevening, you only put in the list of the schools in order of preference. Your first choice school, the course, your second choice school, the course, and your third choice school and the course. So it's a different application. So you apply to the school differently. Right? What you are only doing, like you do on, during JAM, where you just pick the schools. First choice, second choice, third choice. So you apply differently to the schools. So the school requirement for application is different. Chevening has their own. What you are only doing on Chevening majorly is your 4 essays, right? Now, a lot of people ask questions and say, excuse me? Okay. So a lot of people ask questions and say, what about their class of degree? I mean, what about their, is it HND? If they have HND, can they get Chevening or something? Everything that has to do with that is about your school. In as much as you are able to secure an unconditional offer from any of the universities, and this university is part of the list you actually, filled in the Chevening application form, then you are good to go. Chevening would independently screen you, according to the quality of your essay. Chevening will independently screen you according to the quality of your essay, but you apply to the schools differently. You apply, so it is your own duty to know what is the school requiring from you. What document do you need to get on? But for Chevening, you only have to fill the school. I hope that is clear.
Yes, I understand that.
All right. Excellent.
I have a question too.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much. I can understand that we are running behind time. So I quickly want to ask this question concerning the essay actually.
We're actually going to talk about each essays now. So I don't know if you want to wait.
Okay, let me wait then.
All right. So Farouk, let's talk about the essays.
Okay.
So Chevening would require you write 4 essays. That's the second part of the application. So the second, so the first question, let me read verbatim so that we are clear on what we are getting on.
School Chevening partners, any special advantage with that? Some other schools may will meet my future career goal.
Sorry, please. I want to see the question so that people know what the question will be. I don't know if they have changed it for this year, but the first essay question will be: Chevening is looking for individuals who will be future leaders or influencers in their home countries. Explain how you meet this requirement using clear examples of your own leadership and influencing skills to support your answer. 500 words. Farouk.
Yeah.
That's this. I mean, I'm not trying to ask you a question, but that's a question for you on your Chevening application. How do you address that question?
Okay. Well, okay. First and foremost, I think what's really important is using the keywords. All right. So first of all, I will advise that anyone who's actually applying for the Chevening Scholarship, I advise you to split the that's prompt, the essay prompt, split it into different separate parts. Okay. One is looking for individuals who will be able to influence a positive change. How do you demonstrate this? I don't know. I would have loved to read the question, so I'll just break it down for you guys. So that's exactly what I did myself. I split it into different aspects, and then I wrote all my examples, all my leadership examples from the very as far as I can remember. I just scribble them down, just write them, even, regardless of their relevance, actually, regardless of the impact, the scale of impact, and all of that. So I was able to do that after compiling all of the leadership experience. I started sifting them one by one. I started looking at each of them. And then I went on to research leadership examples of sample essays on leadership, on the leadership section for the Chevening application. And I think that was really, really helpful. because through that exercise, I was able to learn the STAR approach. And for most of us, I know you guys are already familiar with what it is. The S stands for situation, the T is for task, the action, the R is for results. So the situation, you describe the context. I usually advise that it shouldn't be too lengthy. So they don't really want to know where you work. They don't want to know, because some people, I know one of the mistakes most people do is that they are tempted to amplify the kind of the name of the organization. Okay, like I've worked with the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation or something like that, or just want to, United Nations or something like that. You just give the context where there was a problem, and then the task too should also be brief. What was needed to be done? All right. So I think that's what I did. So I was able to describe the situation of where we had
right.
a problem in a particular community, and then the task, what was meant to be done was to tackle the issue at hand, and then the action should form, I think, 75% of each example, okay, because that is what they are going to be scoring you for. So I was able to beat down my actions step-wisely. You did this first, you did this next, you did this afterwards, and then everything cumulated to a particular result. So there should be a result afterwards. Okay, if you don't have a result, then you can reflect. All right, so maybe if there's no tangible result, you can reflect that, okay, from this experience, I was able to learn that, and so and so should be done in this way. I think that's what I actually did for my
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Farouk. Just to add that you also want to look at where you are leading. Maybe you belong to a group, either in church, either department, while you are in university, wherever, and this is asking you to speak about your role. It is your role, not about any other person. So, and you have to also ventilate what success was recorded, by the group, by the whatever, as a result of your own input. So you have to ventilate, and I keep saying this, that you have to hype yourself in a modest way, and you don't lie, don't exaggerate. So I mean, so I'm not saying you should
bigger, and he has already shown us that he has the ability to, push. So I think that is what is really important. Your potential, not necessarily what you have done. Okay. I think that's what is
okay.
With the leadership.
Okay, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, please. I have a question.
Do you want us to talk about the 4 essays, and then we take questions later, so that we don't get to model these things, guys? Apologies.
Yes, talk about the 4 essays. Thank you.
All right. So Farouk, that's you're still on the first essay, right?
Yeah, I think I'm done now with the first essay. I said
excellent. No, that's fine. That's
just put your questions down, guys, so that when we're taking questions, we'll just settle everything once.
All right. Let's talk about the second essay. So the second essay speaks that, okay. I want to read the exact question so that we know how to get on it. So it's saying that Chevening is looking for individuals with strong professional relationship building skills who will engage with the Chevening community and influence and lead others in their chosen profession. Please explain how you build and maintain relationships in a professional capacity, using clear examples of how you currently do this, and outline how you hope to use these skills in the future. So this question is speaking to, so Farouk answered the leadership thing, so I'm trying to sit to the networking skills also. But let me, just a disclaimer, don't think what works for me will work for you. So we have unique experience, like Farouk said. I don't think you have to, be connected to the president, to Obama, whatever. No. Now, for instance, myself, while I was applying, I saw that it's asking you, how are you able to build relationships, connection, and how do you maintain them for your advantage or to achieve an impact? So then I was speaking to my own professional engagement that deals with probably training journalists, trained over 400, 500 journalists in Nigeria, how I have been able to build that network to continue to, advance the conversation on advancing development, transparency, accountability in Nigeria. Yours can be your church group, how you mobilize your church group. Yours can be your group, your Islamic group. It can be anything. So you probably have to, my phone is distracting now. So you probably have to get the uniqueness of your relationships. It might be how you met someone that you introduce to somebody else, how the person will later help you later. I mean, it's not, this thing is not white and black. It all depends on how do you, the Chevening is asking you, how do you want to now use leverage on the Chevening network to build impact, to advance your profession. So guys, and I want you to link your first essay that speaks to leadership. There are some points in your leadership talk, because if Farouk, for instance, was the leading folk for academic engagement, so that experience would later be, that cluster of people that he has worked with now becomes his network, and they probably would have done a lot of things together, maybe community work, doing your NYSC, your CDS group. I mean, how you influence your CDS group to carry out outreach. I mean, it can be anything. So that's what your networking, essay is speaking to. Myself, I spoke to how I was a fellow, how blah blah blah, but it doesn't have to be that big. It just have to be unique, and it has to correlate alongside the question that they are asking. I hope that is clear. Farouk, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, if I would just add, I'll just echo what you've already said. What is really important, I don't know if you can hear me because it's showing here that my network is unstable. Can you all hear me?
Yes,
Yeah, so what is really important is showing the potential across all essays, both the leadership, clearly leadership and talking. It's about your potential, okay? Looking for people who professionally build contacts. They want to know that, okay, the people who are selecting, they are not going to just be when they get to the UK, they'll, make the move to build contacts. So what is really important is you showing the potential that you can connect with people. And one way you can do that is to give examples of how you've been able to do that in the past. All right. And what I want to point out again is that you shouldn't portray your story in a selfish way. All right. So that relationship, your ability to leverage on a relationship shouldn't be just for your own benefit, but it should be for a mutual cause. All right. If it's not for a mutual cause, then it should be for the greater good. Let's say for the community. Okay. You're able to forge network, sustain relationship, and use that relationship to tackle a problem in your community, or you use it for a mutual gain to probably boost performance for your organization. So I think instead of I leverage the relationship to get employed into the organization, or I use this relationship to, you understand? So it should be for a mutual gain. So of course, if you are networking with someone in the UK, they should also be expecting something from the network, not just shouldn't just be for yourself. So that's
Right.
That's
excellent. Thank you, Farouk, for that addition. So we'll go straight to the third essay, which says outline why you have selected or choosing 3 universities and explain how this relates to your previous academic or professional experience and your plans for the future. 3 things here. So we said it earlier that while applying, there is a space where you have to pick the schools in order of preference. Now, they are now telling you to tell them how or why did you choose the school. And then not only that, why did you choose the school? Let me take it one by one. Why you have selected or chosen university. So some would say, oh, is higher ranking university. For soccer fans, for football fans, they will say we are choosing Manchester University because of is it Stamford Bridge, Farouk? That's fine. But please, your primary reason should not be because you want to watch ball. I mean, that should not be because you want to go snap with the celeb, all those. No. So one mistake people do is that they would go to the university's website and capture verbatim what the university speaks to as per ranking. Sure. Please don't do that. It may count for plagiarism. So you may have to say, okay, this school is ranked as the first. So we have different kind of ranking. Ranking can be per subject. It can be per general school. It can be by research. It can be by anything. So, but I'm sure that there is hardly any school that won't have one unique thing about them.
Yeah.
So there is at least one unique thing. My school, for instance, University of Success, is the best in development studies in the world. That does not mean it's the best across the whole of UK or across the world. So Farouk school would also have one thing that is the best thing. Maybe as per diversity, as per alumni network, it depends. That means before you apply, you have to research as to why are you choosing the school. Is it the location? Some that chose my school would say because it's close to the sea, to the beach, and then But to me, I was clear. So you pick 3 schools, and you have to explain in just 500 words why the 3 schools, why you choose the 3 schools. Another thing is why the course. Don't forget that you are choosing the school alongside the course. So why the course, and how will that course you have chosen, how will it affect your future career? For instance, I have worked for 4 years as a media development professional, and I was applying to study media practice for development and social change. So before, I know that I have been using the media to drive transparency and accountability. Why am I using it to drive transparency and accountability? It is to actually advance development in Nigeria. And of course, when you advance development, there is social change. So I was clear. And I was clear on my first choice school, University of Sussex, my second choice school, University of East Anglia, and my third choice school, University of Westminster. Don't forget, it is not a must the courses are the same. I mean, it is not a must the courses are, it can be 3 courses in the school. And it can also be 3 different courses, 3 different schools. It all depends on you, right? And just 1-2 paragraph that are unique points will do for your, third essay. Try as much as possible to know why you are applying. Even beyond your essay, it will form a big part of the conversation during the interview. So you have to be clear. Don't say because you can even, if you have a friend that's, there are people that have gone to those schools and they are now doing fantastically well in their chosen career. You can me for instance, I was making reference to Mo Abudu on East Anglia. So it all depends. Try and know what is unique about your university and why or how will the course help you to become better. And then leveraging on the Chevening network. How will the Chevening Scholarship, jam everything together in 500 words, because that is the foundation of your last essay, right? So Farouk, you can speak to the third essay before.
Now, with regards to the third essay, I usually advise people to start with a problem statement because it's very important. The whole essence of our education is to become problem solvers. You go to school because you want to solve a problem. So when they're asking you to talk about studying in the UK, I think you should start with the problem statements. That should be the major reason why you want to actually go and study in the UK. You want to go and learn a particular skill that will prove useful probably in the work that you're doing to tackle issues. You want to develop your capacity and all of that. So having said that, your introduction should be compelling with evidence that's that kind of explain 1 or 2 problems in your country that you want to come and address. All right. So it's more important to use that kind of opening than saying you want to study in the UK because the UK is known for high education, high this and all of that. Yeah, it could be the reason why you want to go to UK, but what is really important is you coming back to solve something, so solve a particular problem. So I think that should be, your introduction should be around there. And then, like what Akintunde said, every university is unique in their own sense. So I think one thing that's really common with most people and their essays is that they repeat a particular characteristics for each university. I can say number 1 university is, my first choice is the top ranking university in UK. The second choice, I'll talk about ranking again. The third choice, I'll be talking about ranking. No, for me, what really attracted me to my first choice was a particular professor. So the is actually, that also requires a lot of research. What's inspired me was a professor. What attracted me to university was a professor who's the founder of Democracy for Africa. And because I want to actually develop a political career, and it correlates with what's the kind of work he's doing. He's the founder, he's the author for, I think, Encyclopedia for African Politics. So learning on that kind of person who already has this kind of authority over, literatures in Africa will really help me. So that's why I chose the first university. And then the second university, I talked about ranking. Yeah, the university is actually, and I talked about research ranking, not the academic ranking per se. So the research ranking was key for me because I want to investigate lots of issues around conflicts that we have in Nigeria. We have lots of conflicts and we don't know why some of these conflicts are happening. I want to be in a position to be able to, investigate some of those stuff, and it will require good research skills. And this university is ranked one of the best in terms of research. So that's why I chose the second university. And then the third, I talked about location in the third. So you're human, of course, and you may like a particular thing about university, but that should be the last. All right. So if it's about the stadium, fine. You can probably just, after you've talked about what you expect from the university and the course, you can just end it with maybe you also like the location. Then, but aside from that, it's very important that for each of these three universities, you relate it with what you'll be able to do in your country. So when you talk about this course, what the course is going to help you with, relate it. Okay, like this course will provide me with skills that will enable me to tackle so. For my second choice, I said it to help me with research skills I will use to investigate the root cause of conflict and violence around different areas, different zones in Nigeria. So always relate it. Okay, it amplifies the relevance. So you talk about this course, and this is exactly what it's going to give you. Don't just say you like the university because of this course. Tell them what it's going to give you. That should be the ending of each statement. And someone asked how many paragraphs. So ideally, you should create distinct paragraphs for each of this university. Introduction, 3 paragraphs for each of the university, and then conclusion. I think that will be that's from my side.
All right, thank you, Farouk. So let me just. I mean, this is just to guide. So you probably want to like speak to, like Farouk said, your introduction is important. So you have to be clear. And when you're saying that a school is number 1 in development studies, maybe your second point for the second school would be diversity, maybe research, maybe a particular lecturer, so it all depends. So you have to, that means first thing first, the place of research cannot be overemphasized. So you should have done your research so that at least when you're sleeping and they wake you, I remember that when I was applying, there is hardly anything on that website, that Chevening website, that I have not checked. So that even if I want to ask people for guidance, I'm asking from an informed perspective, because people can be funny. People would ask you funny questions, even to the point of asking you the website to apply. You are like, I mean, how would you want to apply for scholarship without even knowing the website? So guys, let's try as much as possible to do research about the choice of school and all. Right. So the fourth question, because I know people would have to get to other things. So let me just quickly talk about the third question, the fourth question. So the first essay would ask you that Chevening is looking for individuals who have a clear post-study career plan. Please outline your immediate plans upon returning home and your longer-term career goals. You may wish to consider how these relate to what the UK government is doing in your country. So this is speaking particularly to, so after your master's, after your 1 year, what next? One question I have received countless times from prospective applicants would be, even this morning, was that, are they allowed to stay back for 2 years? And I would say no. You see, let me put it clear now. If you are applying for Chevening, don't have it at the back. Don't think you want to stay back in the UK. No. So after your 1 year master's, you have, when your visa expires. So let me put it that way. So carry your bag. Carry your bag and come back to Nigeria. I think I'll beg you, because many people would see the scholarship as an opportunity to japa, to run away from Nigeria. Yeah, I know you want to leave Nigeria, but when you return, Chevening would ask you, what immediately would you get on? Me, for instance, I was clear. I told them immediately after my program, I'll return to Nigeria and do this. So there are 3 things you should think about. What will you do between the day you arrive in Nigeria and the next 1 year or the next 2 years? Then what do you want to do in the next 5 years? So this is more like a peep into the future. So when I return, I probably would. You don't want to tell them that you are returning to Nigeria and immediately become the president of Nigeria. That is not possible. That is not realistic. So you don't want to say that. So you can, maybe if you're already working in Nigeria before you travel, you may tell them that, when you return, you'll be promoted. Then you will be able to bring the knowledge you've garnered in the UK, the experience, the network to bear in Nigeria. Then you can tell them what impact would you achieve as a result of your immediate engagement in Nigeria. So you can then, if you want to contest elections, you can then say, okay, in the next 10 years, maybe you want to join a political party in 2 years, then you become a card-carrying member of a political party, then in the next 20 years, that is even realistic. Yeah, in the next 20 years, you can contest for president. You may not emerge. Anyway, you can, anyway, I'm not, but just be clear on, just be logical. I mean, be logical. Don't just fantastic ideas that are only good on paper. Now, there is a caveat here, which is saying that you have to relate. Sorry, I want to say the exact word.
You may consider
how this relates to what the UK government is doing in your country. So, I have a document that I can share. I know people that are part of the WhatsApp platform, they already have it. So, and then on Monday, there will be a session on Instagram, IG Live. There will be an IG. Farouk, take over, please. Let me just quickly.
Okay, yeah, there's going to be a session online. I think I'm not really sure, but I think it's Deputy High Commissioner of Nigeria that will be handling the session, and it's going to be talking about UK priorities in Nigeria. So, since if you want to apply, you should at least try to attend so that you learn about the priorities. I saw someone asking a question about human resource management and how it relates to UK priorities. So I think it would be best if you could actually push your questions to him during the session. That will be on Monday. I don't know the exact time per se, but probably Akitsudi might get back to you guys on that. People just share it on the group chat.
Yeah, so Farouk, you can answer questions. People are raising their hands. You can identify them. Let me quickly get on something, please.
Okay. So before
good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yeah. Okay, Yusuf, go on.
Yeah, I have a question. I was actually raising with my hand the other time, as regards the working experience aspects.
Okay.
What really happened was, if somebody actually has an organization founded in 2014, let's say a non-governmental organization, of which you only work for probably duration of 2 years consecutively, you understand that you actually put a stop between, let's say, 2017 to 2018. Then you started again from 2019. So for you putting this into record, how are we going to navigate this? How are we going to break the stop?
Yeah,
putting this to the shepherd.
All right, so now this person has an NGO, right? The person runs an NGO. The person has run the NGO for 2 years, and the person was also a storekeeper for, I get you right, the storekeeper for the same 2 years, right? Is that what you're saying?
Like, actually, it passes that for like duration of 24 months. That is like 2 years, from 2014 to 2016. You understand? So probably engage from.
The person was working in 2 areas, right?
Definitely.
Yeah, one as a founder of an organization or as a director of an NGO, and then as a storekeeper, right? So yeah, there should be different times allocated to each of these events. It's either you're working part-time as the director of the organization, and then you're working full-time as a storekeeper, or you're doing it the other way around. So whichever the case, there's a section for part-time, there's a section for full-time, because there's no way you're going to be doing both full-time. Okay, I think so. You just give just separate the hours for each of them, for the full-time and for the part-time. Okay, except I don't know.
Thank you.
Yeah,
hello. Okay. Hello.
I can hear you.
Okay, so please, my question is like.
Good afternoon.
Hello. Okay, so my question is okay, let's say if I get selected now and I'm being told to submit like an unconditional offer. So can I just pick any university? Like, let's say I have like an unconditional offer from the 3 universities I selected. So can I just submit anyone? Can one submit anyone, or they will have to tell you to go for the first choice?
Okay. Yeah, you can submit anyone actually. When you eventually get selected, you still have another opportunity to, during the interview and even after the interview, you have an opportunity to switch. So you could be that you probably want your third choice, and maybe you have unconditional offer for your third choice, or you don't have offers for the others. You can just present your choice and it's accepted. I hope I answered your question.
Oh yes, you did. Thank you.
Yeah, please, I have a question. Hello.
Yeah, Israel.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Good afternoon, everybody.
Yeah, good
Can
afternoon.
you hear me?
Yes, I can. We
Yeah,
can.
I want to ask a question concerning the networking essay.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to know if it's possible to also include the story of how a positive relationship came out of a kind of argument with someone.
Okay. I don't know how to. Okay, I can tell you want to attempt this. Or you still? All right, it's fine. Let me just attempt. Yeah. So when you're talking about a positive relationship out of an argument, right? I think what
Yeah,
is really.
yeah. Hello? Hello? Hello?
I can hear you, Israel. Yeah. So if you're talking about building a relationship out of conflicts.
Exactly.
Okay. So it's yeah. What is really important
Guys,
about networking is you showing the ability to build relationship. I'm sure it's still going to be accepted if you can show that yes, you even despite conflict, you are still able to forge relationship. But what I think is important, it's really important, is using the relationship for something good. So you can say a story like, yes, there was an issue and you were able to navigate through this issue to build relationship with certain number of people, and then through that relationship, you're able to tackle a particular issue. So that's problem solving is important. Okay,
yeah.
so
So, and the consequence of the problem you solved. So it translates to solving a problem, maybe to return peace and normality to the society. So there is a way you can. You see, there is hardly anything. Let me give you a tip. If you are conversant with the SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals,
Yes, yes.
there is hardly nothing that you are doing that will not find its feet on the in any of the goals, 16 goals.
Yeah, that's
so
cool.
if you are even if you are sorry, I'm not trying to be to make to demean any profession, but maybe you are what profession say we are going to talk that won't make sense. I mean, there is nothing you are doing that you cannot relate to the SDGs. And if you are relating to SDGs, there is a way you can wire into. I mean, I'm sure DFID would have done something around that before. So you can just, wire it and then it becomes something cool. That's why it's important for you to do research. If you research, so every relationship, how you introduce somebody to your boss and they increase sales, anything, just anything is what you are able to bring on board, and then wire it to the SDGs, see how you can link it to these priority areas of the UK government, and then it makes sense. I know. Okay, Yusuf, you have a question?
Right.
Can I ask my question,
Hello?
please? My hand has been up.
Sorry, I'm calling according to what I have here. Yusuf is first. Then I will call Oluwatosin Sonny. Sonny, rather.
I have
Yeah, hello.
questions, so I couldn't raise up my hand at the time.
Yeah, hello.
Yusuf.
So this is Yusuf. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I have a question regarding like my course of study actually. So I think I have like a passion to just, let's say, study an MSc in software engineering. So but it's just like I'm having a problem in like maybe how can I connect it to, let's say, what DFID is doing here, because I've gone through their site and they don't even have anything like that connects it back to
software engineering is tech now. It's tech related.
Yeah, it's tech related.
You don't have to bother yourself. I mean, you can, that's in itself. How do you want to return and build platforms, to advance agri, to advance the media?
Okay.
I mean, how do you want to advance security?
Okay.
Yeah. So you are
on
the right track already. See, what you see on the website or what you will see in the documents may not ordinarily be exactly what you are doing, but there is just a way you can wire it into it. That's why it's important for you to think, beyond just the what you see there. So if you are going for software engineering, that means there is no organization that you cannot work in Nigeria, right? Why not return to Nigeria? And robotics, AI is the future of work. So you can get on this thing and make a fantastic application. So you don't have to be taken back by all these, they may have big grammars, right? But there is a way you can wire it to make sense. Oluwatosin Sani.
Thank you for that. Thank you.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So I wanted to ask, first about the work experience. When you say at least 2 years work experience, now I have 4 years. Can I write about the entire 4 years work experience? Won't I be exceeding the maximum?
No.
Then
You can use 4 years. Just make sure that the upper limit per week, you don't exceed it.
Yeah, so that should be
the
average.
upper limit.
Yeah. So there is a lower and upper limit. If you check the application website, if you check the application portal. So for instance, while I was applying, I actually had about, I think 6,000 hours. I think so. So, and that means about 4 years. Sorry, I have about 4 or 5 years. So 2 years of volunteering experience and 3 years of professional experience. So I used the whole. So it all depends on you. Just make sure that you are not exceeding the upper limit, and that means you are not working for 67 hours in a week.
Okay. Then my second question relates to the leadership examples. For instance, aside, I work in the media space, and aside my work in the media space, I volunteered for a couple of organizations. I volunteered for a teen and adolescent platform that works around sexual and mental health. I volunteered for an educational platform, and a whole lot of them. Can I use these examples despite the fact that it doesn't directly relate to the media?
Yes, you can. Let me give you an example. So I work in the media, and I was at the time I was applying, I was directing strategy for a not-for-profit. I also run a not-for-profit. Then I was also volunteering for a not-for-profit. I was also, a fellow of other not-for-profits. So in as much as you are able to link all of this, and this is it. If you are able to meet the minimum requirements and you think adding other things will make it confusing, you don't have to add it. Just if you are able to logically wire your experience together, then you are good to go, right?
Yeah, just
all right. Thank you.
Right. Okay. Afis Agbola, Prof.
Please, I have a question.
Hello. If you have a question, can you raise your hand so that we don't keep missing things? People are already raising their hands, so we need to call them. Then you can drop your question in the comment chat box. Afis, Prof.
Can I go on?
Yes, sir.
All right, good afternoon. Thank you, Akindele and Fabi. Your special advice actually provided some clarity to some of the things.
Prof, your internet is not acting like a normal human being.
You can't hear me properly.
I think it's clearer now. It's kind of dragging before.
Just go ahead with your question.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, yeah, right. Yeah, your question now. Yeah, right.
All right. So my question is related to the leadership aspect of the essay. When Farouk was talking, he did mention that you can cite some examples to explain your leadership ability and all. So my question is, can you cite more than one examples while talking about your leadership experience and ability in that essay? Can you cite more than one examples? And if yes, was these 3 examples be under maybe one particular organization or different activities you've done to bring about results?
Okay. Farouk, do you want to go? I should go.
I'm not really sure if I get this. I'm not really sure if I heard him.
So the question is that can you use more than one leadership example in your essay?
Okay, yeah. Ideally, I usually advise 3 examples because I think 3 is a good number. It's just I think just perfect. So I will advise you look for top 3 of your leadership examples and then you present a strong case. But for some persons, I've heard some people presenting 5 examples. But what I just feel that some of them actually succeeded. The thing is you being able to manage the word counts and you being able to give them that confidence. Because I feel it will be difficult for you to manage all your stories in 5 examples. You need to show them that action. That's action. You need to explain it. So for you spreading it across the 5 examples, it may be very, very, very scanty. Or if you have 3 examples and then in each of these 3 examples, 75% of the 3 of them contain your action, then I think that should present you as someone who's really have potential to lead.
Right. And also, it is not also about the number of the examples you are bringing on board. It's more about the quality of engagement. So if you've done 5 things and you are only able to see you are only able to use concrete impact about 3, you're good to go. Just make sure, like Farouk said, you are clear on the word limit, and then you are also able to wire them together so that, because for me, my essay, the first, second, third, and fourth, they are related. I mean, it's more like sequence. So I was like building on each other so even if I'm not able to complete my thought in my leadership essay, there was a way I brought into it in the networking essay, and also making reference. And one good thing is that if you have done something and you have evidence, say you have pictures, you have video, you can use a bit.ly link. You can just hyperlink. Hyperlink will not take you more than 1 word or 2 word count max. So you can hyperlink so that you let them know that you have evidence for these things, right? That's just one thought. Oluwasegun, Fabi.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Okay, I have like 4 questions. Number 1, if you have won, let me say, a foreign scholarship that did not lead to a master's degree for you, can you put it there, like, without make you eligible? That's 1. If you have won a foreign scholarship, like, let me say, maybe you've like a fellowship.
Okay.
Like a fellowship, maybe to go to the other country, maybe to US or Germany or so. Can you put it there? That's number 1. Then number 2, concerning the networking essay, is it advisable to, because I'm having problem with networking essay actually, especially using the STAR approach and then also being cognizant of the 500 words thing. So can you just use 2 examples and maybe your last paragraph to talk about what your networking thing will do for you? Then my third question is related to leadership. Okay, it's related to the study plan. Now, my question is it advisable that you just have, let me say, 3 different paragraphs to talk about those 3 schools you've taken, or you can just have 1 unique paragraph to like encompass all of them like that? Then my 4th question, I've forgotten. I was having it in my head. So that's all for now.
Okay. I think hello. Okay. I think I can answer because at the time I was applying, I was on about 3 fellowships. Thereabout. I think 2 or 3. So, and let me read my so you can add it. In fact, it is a big deal for you to ventilate that as part of your network. So if you are currently I am representing Africa as an ambassador on the UNESCO supported Global Alliance for Partnerships on Media and Information Literacy. That is a big one. So I was able to let them know what that. Let me explain this. Okay, sorry. I want to so that it's clear. So I said that I am one of the paragraph. I am currently an African ambassador of the UNESCO Gap Meal. My responsibilities include promoting the need for skills acquisition, knowledge, and improving African youth competencies in media and information literacy by, look at me now, by collaborating, which is a keyword for networking, right? And cooperating with operational partners and stakeholders in each region. Media and information literacy around people across Africa. So I try to let them know that I am this, and I was also able to let them know what my responsibilities are and how it is that. Nice. Can we try not to distract her so that we don't waste time? So I don't know if that is clear.
It's clear. It's clear.
Then, as per the paragraph thing, so it all depends on. You don't have to use 3 paragraph, and you can also use 3 paragraph if you are sure that your word limit is still intact. For instance, let me give you an instance. I was speaking that I think my 3rd paragraph said study media practice for development and social change at the University of Sussex, media and international development at the University of East Anglia, or media and development at the University of Westminster. So I used a single paragraph to launch them into my own engagement. It may not be the same for Farouk. It may not be the same for you. It all depends on how you are able to manage your words. Then my next paragraph then says, according to the world ranking, the QS world ranking, University of Sussex, on the same paragraph. Then the second line was the head national in media and international development at East Anglia. So I was speaking to ranking as per Sussex, then I was speaking to the impressive faculty and the collaboration between the media and the world in the East Anglia. Then I was also saying that the program at University of East Anglia has research as its core agenda, and the university falls under top 1% in the world according to the Times Higher Education ranking. Can you see that? A paragraph about 5 things in a clear, and coherent manner. Then, and now the last engagement there will be University of Westminster is ranked the most internationally diverse university in the UK. Look at what Farouk said earlier. Farouk said you have to speak about one unique thing on each university. So my choice of sources was because of the ranking in development studies. My choice of UEA, 2 things. It parades an impressive faculty, and it also has research as its core agenda, right? And the University of Westminster speaks to highly ranked in diversity. University that you have at least 1% from every other country in the university. But because it's also in London. So you have to that's just, to me, that's just 2 paragraphs that I just summarized. So it depends on how you are able to get on your engagement, right? So I think my second to the last paragraph then said, as the Nigerian media space has a vibrant CSO community, it will be of great benefit to understand in the course of my program the role of CSO and alternative media in fostering social and political change. I believe that my professional background, my problem-solving skills, and my zeal for public good has prepared me to meet the demands of the rigors of academic studies in the UK. I am enthusiastic about the learning opportunities and the potential outcome of my academic sojourn, and I look forward to being selected for the scholarship. Definitely. So how you are able to wire your thoughts in clear and coherent manner would make the deal work. Farouk, you want to say something?
Not really. There's a particular question I asked. So I think it's about the number of essays, whether for leadership you can just use 1 essay or use 3 essays. The thing is that Chevening is really, really very competitive. Okay, lots of people are going to be applying. And one standard that most people have maintained, and I think most successful Cheveners, is that they present at least 3 examples. Okay, so except if you're going to be presenting a very strong, compelling example, just 1 example, then it may be cool. But I think rationally, any reviewer who sees 3 examples, 3 solid examples, and just 1 example, rather go for the one with the 3 examples rather than just 1 example. So that's just my take.
Right. And then,
So I think if
my last question.
1 question, so that other people will also get the opportunity to ask questions instead. Okay. And I don't know if we can give priority to those who have not really asked questions, who are yet to ask, because I believe some people have already asked more than once.
Yeah, right. So somebody is asking FCDO, yes, Foreign and Commonwealth Development.
Development Office.
So FCDO has been merged. Sorry, FCO, the Foreign and Commonwealth Office, is not merged with the DFID. That's Department for International Development. So it's now FCDO. So whatever DFID has done before, or the FCO have done before, you can look at that. But there is a webinar coming up on Monday that will speak. Just majorly priority areas in Nigeria. You can join in, guys, and then it will be an interesting experience for you. Somebody is asking that we'll be required to upload our transcripts while applying to university. My transcript is not ready yet. So we can't speak for universities. They have unique requirements. But if you don't have your transcript and you would get it at the time, later, you can still apply. You can write them. One thing about UK universities is that they deal with applicants on individual basis. So if they discover that your application is not, your documents are not complete, they will probably send you email, or you can even inquire. You can send them email to ask them, about this and that. So that's pretty much more around them. But if you don't have your transcripts and you have your first year results, second year, third year, fourth year results, you can have them merged into a PDF file and use that tentatively while applying for the scholarship, the admission. So you may later give them what they have. That's why UK admission is sometimes conditional and unconditional. So conditional means you have one or two other boxes to tick, and unconditional means you satisfy all the admission requirements. So it all depends on you and how you are able to get all these things, right?
Okay. I think Michael Wanko asked a very important question. I don't know if Michael Wanko,
Okay.
If I'm pronouncing your name rightly. So you said, must I apply to a school that is a Chevening partner? Is there any special advantage with that? As some other schools might really meet my future career course goals. Thanks. Yeah. So one advantage, actually, there's an advantage applying to Chevening partner universities. It's most likely that they contribute, because Chevening, to some extent, they contribute just part of your scholarship, and then the university make up for the rest. And in other cases, the university take care of your tuition completely, while Chevening take care of your living costs. So most of these universities that contribute alongside with Chevening are Chevening partner. So when you get selected, and if you're chosen if you apply to a Chevening partner university, to be easier for the whole process to be completed. But when in an event where you apply to a university that is not a Chevening partner university, you may end up being required to pay for the completion for your tuition fees. I have a lady who's going to University of Manchester, which is not a Chevening partner university. The university decided to contribute alongside the fund that Chevening is going to be, giving her, that contribute as part of the scholarship. So it may be tricky. You may apply to a university that is not a Chevening partner, and the university may not even care to contribute. Again, so I understand that there are some universities that really meet your goal. Yeah, and you can just give it a shot, give it a try. Not necessarily put them as your first choice though, but you can just give it a try to see if it will work.
One thing I would want to add is that so you have to apply to 3 schools. Don't apply to the top schools alone. So you can just do this. One, a school that is highly ranked. Second, a school that's probably on a mid scale, and then you can apply. Then you can do the last choice to be a school that is both a Chevening partner and is moderately ranked, so that you are sure that at least you get one offer, because your scholarship would be gone if you, at the deadline you cannot produce an offer. Though, that's pretty much like it. So you have to do research to see the admission rate of some schools, right? And some schools, so good thing, Chevening no longer require Ielts, but some schools will still require you write Ielts. So you probably want to look at the international student requirements for your country before you apply, so that you know that you are able to meet it, and nothing stops you from applying to universities at this time. You can start applying. You can wait till next year. It's all good. Just make sure that you are sure of an offer from any UK school that is part of your choices for Chevening.
Okay. So let's just add to what you just said in regards to your school choice. Well, I don't know. I might be saying something a little bit different, because Chevening gives this kind of freedom to choose. But I understand where King today is coming from. He wants it may be risky for you to choose all this Ivy Leagues university, and then you don't get admission. What's the essence? Okay, but if you are confident enough to gain admission in some of these schools, and you feel you're really sure that yes, you can actually make it. We have someone who's actually going to Oxford. Just be sure that you research that university to be sure that you actually meet the eligibility requirements, and you are able to, just the way you're going to write a good essays, you're going to write good essays for Chevening, make sure that your personal statement is really, really, really compelling. As if you know you want to actually apply to good schools, Okay, so it's just my advice. But if you know you're not going to be that very strong, then I'll advise you just generally look for one small school to just back up, just in case the other two schools fall your hands. You just quickly, go to the one that is actually not demanding. But if you know you're cut out for the tax, then you can actually apply to some of these Ivy League schools. They're called Russell Groups universities in the UK, so you can as well apply to either of them. And if you're good, you definitely get admission.
Yeah, thank you.
Please, can I ask my question? I have a question here.
Okay. So we.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
Please, as regards because I've actually made more research as comes to the majority of the scholars that have been chosen, is either they are the first class graduate or they are second class pauper. So I would love to ask that what is the chances of probably someone with a second class lower degree being selected for the scholarship? That's the first question. Then the second question is going to be navigated on this part of the references. Is it compulsory that the references must actually be in a letter headed if we are to upload it on the portal? Then the third one is going to be on the aspect of the unconditional offer, because there are some institutions, let's be more precise, like Convertry institution, before you could actually get their final offer, you have to actually make commitment financially, which like probably 10% or 5% of your tuition fee, you have to pay that. So what is it advisable rather for someone or an applicant to actually make the commitment financially to that institution?
Okay, you don't have to. So Chevening is sorry, it's called Farouk.
It's cool though.
yeah. Okay. So Chevening is more. So it is tricky. If you have a 2-2, you would get onto Chevening. If your application is quality enough, yes, you will get on. Now, the deal is that you must be able to secure an unconditional offer from a UK school. So your class of degree is very much not a challenge. I've not seen anybody, seen 2-1, 2-2, first class get on Chevening. So it all depends on the quality of. See, your major application is the essay for Chevening. I mean, that's the major application. That's one. Then 2, I would advise you don't make financial commitment. Do you have to?
Okay.
You don't have to make financial commitment. When you are applying to any school and they want you to probably pay deposit or all, just do them email. In fact, while you are applying to those schools, they will ask you your source of funding. So then you can let them know that you are applying for Chevening. And if after you're not sure of the outcome, you can just do them email. Myself, for instance, while the school was asking me to pay a deposit of £2,000, I was clear that I'm still expecting the outcome of my application, scholarship application. So you don't have to make financial commitment. But like Farouk mentioned earlier, some schools are not Chevening partners. Sorry, who is it? Please mute yourself. Don't distract us here. Apologies. Just have to. So there are some schools that are not Chevening partners. That even when you get Chevening, you do rare occasion, on rare occasion that you may have to be the one to pay the percentage that Chevening will not be paying. So that is why it's important for you to research, right? Hello. I said something.
Okay.
All right. So Alimat Olufade.
So the last question has been answered on the reference letter. Must it be
on the reference? So your reference, it may not be on letterhead, but if you can get it. Just make sure that it is duly signed and the referring entity, their designation is there. But you pretty much should be able to get it. That is why you don't see pick referees that know you and they would have your time. It doesn't have to be a professor. It doesn't have to be chief imam. It doesn't have to be Otoba. No. See, myself, the 2 references I used, they were actually Mr. So you don't have to See, Chevening
Does
is
it carry the official stamp of their working
it
place?
must have the official stamp of the referring organization, yes. But if you can, please get it on letterhead. I mean, just to avoid stories that touch the. I mean, we are not in their mind. We don't know what. But you know, Chevening is hugely competitive. Last year, 8,000 applicants applied, and only 49 got in. So you probably want to make sure that you perfect everything that has to do with your application. And if you get it to the point of being shortlisted for interview, that's a big deal. You don't want to blow that chance by just making a simple mistake of not using letterhead. Try, even though Chevening will tell you not that it's not a must use letterhead, but if you can, try to get it.
Yeah. So.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I would like to add to that. Momo Pitemi. The thing is, you can actually use your reference letter as a tool. That's if your academic performance is not really that strong. You could talk to your referees, tell them to say 18 or 2 about academic performance then in school. It could be that maybe you were working or doing something, probably that's why you're just talk about how you participate in class too, okay? And if your academic performance is not really that strong, or it will be cool. I think it seems to be better if you can get one academic referee, all right? That will probably talk about your because actually, yeah, Chevening is really concerned about your leadership skills. They're concerned about your application. They don't really care much about your academic performance, but they really want to be sure that you'll be able to catch up with a very rigorous master's degree in the UK.
Right.
Also important. You can talk to them to talk a little, 18 or 2 about your academic performance in school. All right, and I'll advise that you try as much as you can to see if you can actually get a reference letter on the letterhead. You know, these people are going to be huge. They are humans, of course. So that's alone, and someone talk about authenticity of your reference letter rather than something just plain blank. Mine, I used one letterhead and the other was just signed and stamped. Well, that's.
Okay, someone is asking.
I have a question.
Hello, please let us respond to people that type their question first, so that we don't mix things, please. I mean, we don't have much time. We're closing this meeting max 2 p.m. We're closing this meeting. So somebody is asking that, can we get a typed copy of the essay you wrote? No, now, Abba, no, now. You can't get that. I don't know. Farouk,
and the reason, yeah, I've actually sent my essays to some person.
I've done that too, but I think it makes what it does.
Yeah.
People are lazy to then originally correct theirs, and the thing is, so I would advise that you should try as much as possible to put in the best you can. So you may be lucky to get somebody to review for you.
Yeah, and yeah, of course, yeah. The major reasons why we stopped sending essay, or why me in particular I stopped sending my essay, was because when I started reviewing people's essay, I discovered they were taking expressions. They were taking the expressions verbatim. Some of them were actually taking the words verbatim, and it's not really going to be helpful. They want to take the exact style, don't take the exact words you use and all of that, which is bad. And then secondly, I realized I was exposing my career plans, and it's something really private to me. Okay, this is something that has to do with in-depth reflection and all of that, and then you just throwing it outside, you know, you don't even know who you're giving it to and all of that. So for that private reason, I think that's why I decided to withhold my essay. But I want to advise, there are lots of essays online. You find lots of essays online, okay? You can go online and just look at some of these sample essays. But what is really important is you just learn from the styles you see online and then go back. The whole thing is just the same with everybody. Go back, reflect, think for the career plan. Nobody has ever even asked a question on career plan, and I think that's very, very important because that's where the investment is going to be on. So your career plan, imagine, just dream. Where do you want to see yourself in 10 years? One thing that Chevening has done for me, apart from the scholarship, even if I didn't get the scholarship, Chevening was able to give me a focus that, okay, yes, I studied geography, but you can still actually go into this field. You can still enter politics. You can do this, you can do that. So Chevening has given me that focus. Okay, so I think it's important to that you just, you know, dream, and for the leadership, you reflect. Nothing different. Leadership and networking reflects on your examples. Career plan, you dream. Study in the UK, you research.
Thank you, Farouk, for that that very, you know, interesting perspective to it. Then somebody is asking, is there a provision? I think I already answered that question. Then you can get a provision letter from the university. Yes, if the university you're applying to will accept it, yes, you can. For myself, for instance, I did Ielts actually, and then but I didn't later use it because my university requested my WAEC certificate, and that fly, you know, the Chevening cancelled for this year and forever. So you have to do the research to see. And if you are not clear, you can send email to your school to ask them if they will fly. Then does adding the hyperlink you talked about. I think there is a way hyperlink, evidence your engagement. So it tells them that this, in case you are not, so hyperlink would also give them, an opportunity if they have the time. I don't think they will have the time to go check what you have done, and it will speak to your.
I honestly, I think nobody will really check. That's what I feel. They're not going to check. They just believe, because in the end of your application, you're going to be ticking a box that says this what you've written here is entirely true and all of that. So they believe what you're telling them is the truth, and it's going to be to your own peril if you lie, because in the interview they may get you after you're
definitely
find out that you lied in your essay. And there's also terms and conditions applied to the scholarship. If they discover something, you falsified your application or whatever, your scholarship can be withdrawn. So it's even much better you just tell them the truth while you can. Okay, and what you are telling them, they're going to take it as the truth. All right. So I think it's really necessary. You may put your hyper.
If you have, and it will not expand the number of words. Yes, I use about 7 hyperlinks personally.
One word. It's just depends on one word. I feel anything you tell them, they're still going to take. It's not necessarily you.
Yeah.
That's what I feel actually. So someone asked a question, Shafira Eden. Yeah, what are the documents needed for scholarship? You will find this on the Chevening application, because if we tell you now, we forget one. Okay, so it's the best you go to the Chevening website and then you check the documents. Okay, you're going to need an unconditional offer, reference letters. What else again? Your transcript, university transcript or certificates. I think that's and yeah, those are just documents you'll be needing.
So I think we've been able to answer all questions. Somebody is asking.
I have a question actually.
Alimat, okay, right, yeah.
Okay,
I also have a question, please.
Hello, guys. So if you have a question now, just raise your hand. All right, Alimat, you have the floor.
Okay, so for me, I have volunteered for different NGOs, and I'm presently interning with an anti-corruption NGO. But I intend to study African and development for the masters. So I don't know, is it when I'm writing my essays, because the NGOs I work for are actually diverse, not like they have the same particular objective that they're doing. So like, how do I link those things to show that, okay, it has to relate to African development, not like I'm actually going to study probably one particular focus of one NGO. Okay. That's one.
Great.
Two, okay, so I don't know if Chevening supports you having, like, you have a master's already, then you're going for another master's.
Okay.
And is it possible for you, if you have a master's already, but you want to go for another master's and you don't want to put it to your application that you have a master's already, can you still take a reference letter from one of your lecturers that lectured you during your master's program? Yeah, that's my questions. Those are my questions.
Okay. I think in our court we have a PhD holder, right, Farouk?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So all right. So
we have someone also who has double masters.
Yeah. So you don't. So if you want to, you can. So on the application portal, there is a. Okay, Farouk. Okay, Farouk.
Yeah, I was just talking about the person who actually has 2 masters. That's John. His reference letter, one of his reference letters was written by his master's level tutor, his lecturer. Okay, so I think it doesn't have any side effects if you get a reference letter from your master's lecturer who taught you during your master's degree. And then the first question, I don't know if you had got her for the first question.
Yeah, so the first question, speaking to if that she wants to study African development and African development, right?
Yes, African development studies.
All right, so she was asking if I experience with anti-corruption NGO. See, the thing is, your NGO experience, there is no NGO. Okay, well, let me say, most NGOs, their work is to advance development, regardless of their thematic area. Like, for instance, anti-corruption is a major tool to advance development in Africa.
Yeah.
Right? So if you are trying to study African development, I think you have a fantastic opportunity to ventilate on what you already do and how Africa will benefit. For instance, illicit financial flow in Africa is worth trillions of naira. So if you're working at the anti-corruption lane and you want to speak to say, okay, your masters would be to help track illicit financial flow, which at the end of the day would avoid illicit financial flow, and at the end of the day would make Africa become, free of illicit financial flow. There is a way you can wire your engagements in that regard. So you can bring the thematic focus of a particular NGO, dissect it in a way that will speak to, because if you are in the NGO that is advancing health, then you are also seeking for Africa development. If you are in the NGO, in the media focused NGO, you can also speak to Africa development. So it all depends on the uniqueness of your essay and how convincing and how the thought process and the clarity of your thought in the essay will tell us if you are, because, and one thing is, if you are able to get offer for this particular course, don't forget some of the courses will also ask you to write academic interest. Yeah, I mean, I think I wrote academic interest for my 3 school. So if you are able to wire all this together, then you have a fantastic engagement, a fantastic application. Yusuf, sorry, let's call Ayorinde Henry. I think you've not called it before. Ayorinde Henry, are you there?
I think I've asked my question earlier, so I think
all right. You're still raising your hand anyway. So Grace.
Okay.
Can everybody hear me? Hi.
Yeah, hi.
I wanted to ask that, is the reference letter very does it affect the application process? Like whatever is on the reference letter, does it help you positively? And my second question, I think you've been going around it, but you've not actually talked about it. In the essay, networking and leadership, must you talk about your work experience? Must it be inside your, because I've written my networking essay and my leadership essays, and they were not particularly in my work experience. I think it's just one of my work experience that I used in my leadership essay. So I have 3 work experience listed, and I just used one in my leadership essay, and I used my internship experience, my mandatory internship experience for my networking essay. So must you use your work experience in your essays? And then the second one is, if you are eventually picked for interview, does your reference letter help you in any way?
Okay, great.
Okay, so
yes, you can use your work experience. Yes, absolutely. So far
the question is, must you use it? Because I don't have it in.
You don't have to.
You don't have to. Okay.
Look, I think I keep saying that unique experience. It might be your group in the church. It might be anything. It might be your CDS during the NYSC. You don't. I mean, there is no white and black, constitution that says you must use your work experience. That is one.
Okay.
And it was explicitly clear on the application that you should not repeat anything in your work experience in the essay.
Right.
So
no, it was just one essay that they said that for. I think that was career plan. Studying in the UK.
Yeah,
they said you should not use any.
You don't want to bore the reviewer.
So of course, even despite the fact that they said it's just for one essay, doesn't mean it doesn't apply to others.
You don't even want to bore your
first. For your leadership could somewhat relate with your work experience. I think it's fine if you can actually do that. Yeah. But you shouldn't repeat anything from your work experience in your study in the UK. And then for reference, your reference letter is really important. I think that's one of the strengths of your application too. During the interview stage, when the competition becomes very, very stiff, they begin to look at the reference letter. They use that a lot. Okay, so what your people think about you, what people say about you really matters it counts towards your application. Right, and I'll advise what you said in your essay, if you could talk to your referees, right, to them to share the same story with them, so that when they're writing your reference letter, they're going to be resounding some of these stories. I think that's what I do.
Let me tell you one thing that I do, guys. I don't use it though. You may use it, chat. You may draft your.
Yes, my referee said I should draft my reference letters.
Use every opportunity to link your essay with your
My
reference.
reference.
If you have the opportunity of doing that. So what you have to do is to send to them on whatever, maybe email, Google Doc, so that what they have to do is to help you proofread, put in whatever, one other thing, and then they transfer to their own letterhead. Some will send you their letterhead to type and do whatever on. It depends. Just make sure you are not using your boyfriend or your.
Yeah, then I think I have one more question. Anything you say, are they going to verify it? Like your work experience, are they
So
going to
what
verify?
happened? So they will not verify. There is no scale to verify, but it would to show.
The thing is that we can't be so sure if they'll verify or if they won't. Okay.
Do you remember?
Be very safe and just tell them exactly what you did, because you never can tell. One person can just wake up one day and say, "Kai, but this person, let's just see," and you never can tell what might.
Yeah. I think our court, while we were waiting for the result, somebody was asking on the general group that did they call their reference?
Yeah, someone.
So they may call. Sometimes they may just randomly.
Yeah, they can
call
just
any of their own reference.
Just to confirm. All right, and it's very important that your. I'm just repeating it again. It's very important that your referees writes something similar to what you've said in your essay. And one tip I want to give to everyone, including you, Grace, is that if your referee happened to give you the go ahead to write this reference by yourself, try to tell your story to someone and tell the person to that reference letter, because if you write it yourself, you may be tempted to repeat exactly what is in your essay verbatim, because this
you have to be smart about
it. You're already tense. You cannot think. For you to rephrase words, it's going to be difficult for you. So you may be tempted to repeat exactly how it is in your essay. You just write it on your reference, summarize it, and just send it to them. If you put it that way and you put it in a way that it appears like you wrote it yourself, these people, you can just tell the story to someone, a close friend, that can rephrase it and write it for you, or you send it to lecturer and tell the director to please put it in his own words. That's exactly what I did.
And let me tell you, some lecturers in Nigeria, some would just write 2 lines and then that flies. So
I did tell you, bros.
So you have to pick people that are very close and that knows about you.
Yeah, very important.
Is it important? Giola Dimeji is saying, yes, you can use your boss. Yes, why not? Yeah, I use my boss. I use one of my references. I use my boss, one of my referees, and it was a fantastic one for me. So it depends on you. You can use your boss. You can use a partner. You can use anyone. Sorry, but not anybody that's your father, your mother. I mean, you probably don't want to use them, please. Especially
and don't use your relatives. Yeah, very important. Don't use anyone that's
unless
related.
your son
and be very cautious.
Okay. Hello? I have one last question. I want to ask if. Okay.
Hello, who is that? Who is speaking? Grace again?
Grace.
It's right? Grace, yes. I have one.
Okay. Yeah, talk, Grace. Apologies.
You've muted yourself, Grace.
Hello? Did you use Ielts for your student visa?
No.
So when you want to apply for visa, I don't want us to go there because that is.
We'll definitely have the thing is that we're hopeful that you guys, because we're not just wasting our time on this, we're hopeful that you guys are going to succeed with this scholarship. So there's going to be another session again for interview, and there's definitely going to be another session probably for visa and all of that. So well, you guys well,
it can be really exhausting, I tell you.
So now Nike is asking me a question. I want to go into sustainable finance. However, I've done my research and there are only 2 schools in the UK offering this course. Please, what's your advice on the 3rd school? Now, I'll advise you go for, it may not necessarily be exactly sustainable finance, but it could be something else to do with finance, okay? That can be your 3rd choice university, just that has something financial, it could be economics, it could be something related. It mustn't necessarily be exactly sustainable finance. You can use that as a 3rd choice. Lest I forget, in a scenario whereby your injury has incorporated.
Yes. You can use your NGO. Yes, you can use that. Hello. Who is that getting on these things, please? Let's
so Harry, please. Harry is also asking a question that in a scenario whereby your NGO has not been incorporated with the Corporate Affairs Commission.
Sure,
We're going to be
sure.
attending the interview. There's not going to be a challenge actually. So it's your NGO and you believe you've already had it. It's an NGO, although it's not registered and all of that, but you already know you have a need for it and you guys are already doing something. So it's all about telling them what you're actually doing. It's really doesn't cause any troubles. So please, I've been raising my hand.
Okay, now.
Okay, good afternoon, sirs.
Please, I didn't hear the question. I didn't hear the answer to the question I asked, please, as regards the NGO incorporation of a thing. Could you just repeat yourself, please?
You don't have to. You don't have to register it. It's not.
You don't have to register.
Just make sure you're not
you guys are already doing something. I know you have an NGO. You already believe in the NGO yourself. So you just to tell them that you have an NGO that. So it doesn't necessarily it won't affect your application.
Okay, thank you.
We are closing this meeting in 7 minutes, guys. So let's.
Okay, good afternoon. You mentioned my name, Emmanuel Yediji.
Oh yeah, now.
Okay, good afternoon. Sorry, I had a boss while I was in First Bank, but now he has relocated to Canada. He relocated last year, September. I think this makes it a year. Can I still use that my boss as my referee? Can you hear me?
Yeah, sure.
Yes, so long.
He's in Canada presently.
Yes.
Yeah, so long he knows you and you can attest to your capacity, leadership capacity and all of that. Yeah, it's good. You can use him. And then this person has been raising her hand, I think.
Okay, thank you.
Shipra Eden. Please, I've been raising my hand to ask some questions, but it seems to be, you have my questions. Can you share your essays and experiences used as a guide? I've already answered this. Then please give us a step-by-step procedure in applying for the scholarship.
Are you just joining?
You find online. What documents should we make ready before we start the application? It's like you're just new to this, Shipra Idem. So go on.
Joined, I think, because
we do thorough research, and then and for the essays, we already said it that we really can't share our essays because of some personal reasons and some for your own good as well, so that you don't copy and paste and you don't make the most of your own potential actually. So thank you.
Mayowa, can you choose only one course and 3 schools? Yes, why not? Yes. 1 course and 3 different schools. Yes, sure, you can do that. Yeah, you can.
Please, I've been.
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah, Israel, go on.
Yes, sir. I want to ask about the work experience.
Okay.
Now, I saw somewhere that a working week comprises 35 to 60 hours. And the question is that, can we have less than 35 as per week? That's less than 35 hours per week.
Since it was clear that they said 35 to 60, then I think your lower limit is 35 hours. So our advice, except if you're going to use less than 35 for part-time work, you can check for part-time. I think it should work for part-time, but for full-time, I doubt if less than 35 should work. I don't really know. Less than 35 hours per week, I'm not sure it will count. So you just try to be safe. Just stay within that range, 35 to 60.
Okay, what about part-time? Because I worked
at. You can register that under part-time. I think I did that. You can register that under part-time. So
is there any minimum requirement for part-time?
Check the work. We are not sure of the.
No requirement. You can be any sector. It's just the same with your full-time job. The only thing is that the time difference can be reduced. Instead of having the 35 to 60, I think you can probably have something less. But still try to see how you can cover up with the full-time job to just reach the 2,800 hours, just in case, so that you don't. Just in case.
Thanks.
Now, Opeyemi Suleiman said, "How about the transcript? Please address my question." Your question is not really clear here. You just said, "How about the transcript?" So, what exactly are you asking about the transcript?
Opeyemi Suleiman, do you want to tell us what's the question? We probably might have missed it. Are you there?
Yeah.
Opeyemi Suleiman.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. My question is about the transcript. Do I need to get it ready before the application? You don't necessarily need to have your transcript ready, because now we understand that coronavirus has affected schools and they've no reason. So you cannot get your transcript now. You can apply, but you're required to provide these transcripts in February, around February, because that's when the interview. That's if you're shortlisted for the interview, you'll be required to give them upload your transcripts and your reference letters. So those are the 2 documents you'll be required to submit during that period. So you may not have those documents now. You can just go ahead and apply. Or your grade already, your GP and all of that, you just fill that in. I think we're done with the questions, right? I think today.
Guys, I think we are done. I think, yeah, I think.
Sorry, I have a quick question, please.
Okay.
Okay, so my question is, which one should we focus more? Like, is it the Chevening essays first before you apply for admission, or you could do two simultaneously at once?
For the meantime, look for the one that has a shorter deadline. Chevening has a shorter deadline. So advise you put more efforts on your Chevening application because the deadline is fast approaching. And then for the universities, you can apply later on, and you might take more time to apply. So I think it's best to concentrate your effort on one instead of sharing it into two. And I think, did you ask another question, or that's just? Oh, I think
that's all.
Okay, yeah, good. So
guys,
before we wrap up, I will just advise you guys on your career plan because nobody asked about career plan. It seems you guys are getting that. It's very important. Chevening is going to be giving, I think, roughly 40 million for the whole thing, if I'm correct, and that is going to be on your career plan. So make every effort to sell yourself during when writing the career plan essay. So try to learn how to use the SMART approach. Your career goals should be specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. And one thing about the career plan is that it shapes your mindset. It's a little bit informed about your future plans. Okay, so not just for Chevening, even if Chevening doesn't work out, at least they forced you to think about your future, where you'll be in 2 years, 5 years, and 10 years time. So that's very important too. All
Farouk, your network, okay.
All the essays are important. Okay, my network is bad, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I noticed the internet connection is not stable.
I'm trying to see if there are questions we've not answered, but I think we have been able to answer every other question. So
it has really been an interesting time with you guys.
So can we always go back on WhatsApp to ask you, like, if we run into any difficulty, you can always
yeah, sure. We're here to assist. We're here to assist you guys. But on the other hand, I want to plead actually myself and Akintude, and as well as other scholars, on behalf of other scholars as well, because we just moved in and we're trying to settle with academic tasks and all of that. And just in case we don't respond to your inquiries as early as expected from you, I think I'm just begging that you guys pardon us. Yeah, if you can reach us on WhatsApp, let me drop my number just in case. You can reach us on WhatsApp, and we can, if we're not that busy, we'll just 909496. Yep.
The WhatsApp link. Let me see if I can share the WhatsApp link.
Looking for my system. Am I going to get everyone?
Okay, so.
Right, so you guys can reach us, but just in case there's a little delay with the response, just kind of bear with us. So hello, Yusuf. I want to go into sustainable finance. However, yeah, I thought I answered you. Probably you're not listening, Nike. So I said the third choice, you can go with another university that has something related to do with finance. Okay, it could be economics, it could be anything at all, but that should probably be your third choice. All right, so it mustn't necessarily be exactly sustainable finance. It can be anything that has to do with finance. It could be financial investigation, financial economics, financial, anything that has to do with finance. You can just put that as a third choice. And also, don't take it, but try to check if the university has something to offer with regards to what you're actually looking for. Okay, so I think I believe I've now answered your question. Yes, when possible, should we be expecting reply on our submitted essays? Okay, yeah, Marawa, I myself and Akim today, we're going to be, we know there's a deadline for that Chevening application. So for me now, immediately after this, I'll continue with the essay. I've already started reviewing the essays. I'll continue the essays so that as much as I can, I will send it before as early as possible. Okay.
So you hear from us. We are trying to combine a lot of things, but then
there are more, please.
Yeah, it's crazy here, but yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's been an insightful 2 hours. I mean, I didn't know we've spent this much time, but then We are hopeful that this is super helpful for you. We are looking forward to, you gaining, clinching the scholarship. So after now would be you telling us that you've been shortlisted for the interview, and then we'll see how we can fly with that, and then pop champagne, and then eventually getting selected for the scholarship.